March 15th, 1956, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. A 50-pound bag of onions is worth 10 cents. 10 cents. A month earlier, that same bag cost $1.16. So what happened? Two guys happened, and what they pulled off got an entire product permanently banned from futures trading in America. Still banned today. Yeah, onions. Just onions. But to get how we got here, we gotta back up. Meet Vincent Kosuga. Kosuga was a New York onion farmer. But he wasn't just some guy with a pitchfork. He was a professional commodity trader. Then there's Sam Siegel, Chicago produce guy, also a trader. Different city, same idea. In 1955, these two teamed up, and they started buying onions. A lot of onions. Quick explainer. One futures contract back then was about 30,000 pounds of onions. That's 600 bags per contract. By late December 1955, Kosuga and Siegel controlled about 98% of all the onions in Chicago cold storage. 98%. Not a typo, not internet legend. That's from the actual federal case file. Think about that. Basically, every onion in Chicago that mattered was sitting in warehouses run by two dudes. Now, if you took econ class, you know what's next. Corner the supply, jack the price, get rich. And that's exactly what everyone expected. But this is where it gets weird, because Kosuga and Siegel called a meeting, sat down with a bunch of other onion growers and dealers, and they cut a deal. They sold 287 rail cars of onions to these guys at $1.60 a bag. In exchange, Kosuga and Siegel promised to hold back the rest, keep it off the market, prop the price up. Basically a price support pact. You keep your onions, I keep mine. We all get rich together. Everyone shakes hands. Everyone's happy. Everyone thinks the price is going up. And then, Kosuga and Siegel do something nobody saw coming. They flip completely. They start betting against onions. In futures, you can bet a price will drop. It's called shorting. You make money when stuff gets cheaper. By February 2nd, 1956, these two held short positions on 1,161 rail cars of onions. That was about 44% of all open contracts in the whole market. Almost half. Just these two guys. So now the picture's insane. They own almost all the onions, and they've bet massive money onions will crash. You see the problem, right? They control the supply, which means they control the crash. And then they got creative. Genuinely, weirdly creative. They took some of their old onions and shipped them out of Chicago, cleaned them up, repackaged them, made them look fresh, then shipped some of those same onions right back into Chicago. Yeah, they laundered onions. When the March delivery date hit, they started dumping every onion they owned into the market, all at once. The market was flooded. Every warehouse pouring onions out. Supply exploded overnight. February 15th, price sits at $1.16. March 15th, the low hits 10 cents. That's a 91% crash in 1 month. Lowest onion price the exchange had ever seen. And here's the wild part. A 50-pound bag of onions cost less than the bag it came in. Farmers were losing money just trying to sell their crop. Some just dumped truckloads into rivers because it was cheaper than shipping them. Meanwhile, Kosuga and Siegel cashing in on all those shorts. Reportedly, millions. Now, in a normal story, the government swoops in fast. But that's not what happened. The Commodity Exchange Authority didn't even file a complaint until June 18, 1956, 3 months later. Congress held hearings. Farmers screamed. Time magazine ran the story. Everyone was furious. And on August 28, 1958, Congress passed Public Law 85-839, the Onion Futures Act. It banned all onion futures trading in America forever. That law is still active today. You can trade futures on gold, oil, wheat, coffee, cattle, pork bellies, not onions, because of these two guys. But here's the twist most people miss. The law came first, the verdict came second. The official USDA ruling didn't drop until June 3, 1960, almost 2 years after onion futures were already illegal. And when the ruling finally landed, it was messier than you'd expect. The big charge, that Kosuga pumped prices up in November 1955, dropped. Not enough evidence. But the price support deal with the growers and the giant short combined with dumping supply in March, that stuck. Kosuga lost his floor broker registration. Kosuga, Siegel, and their company got a 10-month trading ban. 10 months. That's it. For crashing an entire market and getting a federal law passed with your name on it. Vincent Kosuga went home rich. Reportedly bought a big farm, built a private airstrip, and later donated a bunch of money to his local church. Which is a genuinely weird ending. The guy who broke the onion market retired as a church-going farmer with an airplane. But here's the thing. That 1958 law, it's had a strange second life. Later studies found that onion prices, without futures trading, were actually more volatile than corn or soybeans, which had futures. Which kinda suggests the ban may have made things worse for farmers, not better. Onion growers themselves have tried to repeal the law, more than once. Congress said no every time. So the ban lives on, a weird little scar on American markets, left behind by 2 traders and a warehouse full of onions. And every time someone tries to corner a market today, regulators still bring up the onion case as a warning. 2 guys, 1 vegetable, 1 law that's outlived them both. Not bad for a scheme that started in a cold storage warehouse.